My name is Nikki, aka the Dragon Queen, and today I'm here with another video. Now, I'm doing a Strike Back Videothon video. Today, my shoutout's going to be for a bookish fairy tale. I really enjoy watching those videos. They are amazing and very entertaining. I highly recommend you check them out down below. The topic for today is 5 books you really want to read this year. Now, I still need to record my Pop Sugar Challenge, which is 52 books I want to read this year based off a Pop Sugar Challenge list where each category has a book that coincides with it. But these are 5 books on that challenge that I do want to read at some point in 2018. The first book is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Now, I originally heard of this book because of BookTube. I haven't picked it up until I read Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, and I read a story in there by Jay Kristoff and absolutely fell in love with it. It was just superb in the way that Jay Kristoff created the tension and kept you on your toes the entire time, and I was like, I need to read more things by Jay Kristoff. So I immediately, when I went to the bookstore the next time, I immediately looked for his name and found Illuminae, and I was like, no wonder the name sounded so familiar. So I cannot wait to pick up this book this year. The next book I want to read is also a young adult book, and that is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. Marissa Meyer is the author of the very well-known Lunar Chronicles series. It follows a retelling of a lot of our fable folk heroes, such as Cinderella, Rapunzel, Little Red Riding Hood, and Snow White. A lot of the stories all the stories have a sci-fi twist to them, and I absolutely adore her writing style. I love how she incorporates each of the characters and makes them their own, makes them badass in their own way, and I have very few qualms with that book, so I'm super excited to read Renegades. I didn't know she wrote another book, but I saw it in hardcover at the bookstore, and I was like, wait, is that Marissa Meyer? Hold up, Nikki's gotta buy that. Continuing the fairy tale theme, the other book I want to read next year is Grimm Fairy Tales. This is the complete edition. It has all of the stories that were ever written by Grimm Fairy Tales. I'm currently only on page 14, so I have quite some ways to go. It is a rather massive book. I thoroughly enjoy reading about psychological things, and Grimm Fairy Tales are just fucked up fables. They are the originals, but when you grow up reading the notched down versions that have happy endings and everybody lives happily ever after, you might not get that in the Grimm Fairy Tales, and I kind of like that concept. It's really intriguing to see where some of these favorite stories of ours growing up, how they were originally meant to be. So I'm really excited to read the rest of the Grimm Fairy Tales this year and thoroughly enjoy every ounce of it. Now, speaking of messed up, the next book I want to read is a horror, and I'm slowly starting to get into the horror adult genre, and that is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. Pet Sematary has raving reviews from a lot of people I know who have read it, and I have been slowly getting into Stephen King. I used to refuse to read anything by Stephen King because I was afraid that he would be too terrifying because I can't watch his movies. But as I've grown older, I've realized that my brain functions differently in the way it handles movies and in the way it handles books. So a horror in books, my brain can tone down to a level that I can actually handle it, but movies, it's all at a whole different ballgame. So recently, as in, I think it was October of last year, I listened to The Shining by Stephen King, and I absolutely adored it. I have no intentions, though, of watching the movie, but the book was just scary enough that I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, but it was toned back enough that there weren't any jump scares to freak me out while watching it. My anxiety didn't go up through the roof like it would if I was actually watching the movie. And finally, the last book I would love to read out of this set of 5 books is Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Cannot Stop Talking by Susan Can. This is a This is a nonfiction book that I requested for Christmas about a year ago, and it is just a book about being an introvert and how to survive in a world full of extroverts. Now, there are a ton of introverts out there, however, because we're all introverted, we only communicate online and we don't actually hang out with other introverts very often. If you have those few friends who are also introverted, it works superbly, and keep that relationship going strong. I have one, you should get yourself one too. But I am curious to read the psychology behind being introverted and the proper ways to handle the anxiety and the stress and the just exhaustion that comes with dealing with everybody in a world that requires you to talk to people. Now, personally, I consider myself an introverted extrovert, which is a weird term, but I like to be by myself around my friends that I enjoy, but I constantly also like to be connected to people through the internet or my phone. So while I am home alone with my husband or with my pets or with my best friend, I still like to be connected to people online, and I have a ton of people I talk to on a daily basis on the internet, through Facebook Messenger, through Twitter, through phone calls, etc. Now, I know that there are a lot of introverts who don't like that. They do not like to socialize other than with a few close friends, and that's perfectly fine. I personally get very lonely and more into my head if I'm alone constantly, so I like to distract myself with good conversation. Usually we talk about books, bullshit, video games, or just random bitching. Or if it's with my husband, we're just sarcastic and assholes to each other constantly, and it works out great. So, as he flicks me off. Thanks, love you too. So those are the 5 of the books that I want to read in 2018 that I am thoroughly looking forward to. Have you read any of these books? If so, let me know down below what you thought of them. If you haven't, pick up one of them and read it with me this year. I would love to do a buddy read. Let me know at least one book that you plan to read for 2018. Perhaps it's on my shelf and a book I need to read, or perhaps I read it and can give you some insight on my thoughts. But like it if you like it, subscribe if you want to, and this is the Dragon Queen signing off.